A culture is the manifestation of wisdom, technology, and knowingness. Wisdom is the application of judgment. Okay? Wisdom is the application of judgment. If you cannot judge, there is no wisdom. If there is no wisdom, there is no culture. So far, so good. The purpose of culture is to bring about a higher form of life. So if you destroy the culture, life will deteriorate. Are you with me? Those who can cause people to hate will cause them to be afraid. And when they're afraid, they think and act stupidly. And stupid people are cruel to each other. Now, it didn't happen by mistake. It's not that people are bad. It's not that Biden or Trump caused people to do this and that. No, they're not. You give them too much credit. They're not as powerful. Do you understand that one leader that says blah, 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 100,000 people don't go to the street and do something? There is a much bigger long-term plan, and what people see, they see something happening, but they don't really understand what really happened. So they say, well, it's Biden's fault, or it's Trump's fault, or it's Johnny's fault. It's not. How do I know? Because it doesn't solve the problem. Those who can cause people to hate will cause them to be afraid. And when they're afraid, they think stupidly. When people are afraid, they think stupidly. When you try to impeach your president, you're stupid, especially since you have 3 days left in office. You're extremely stupid. Why? Because it doesn't help the country, even if he's deserved to be impeached. It is just because someone wants revenge, not improvement. They don't know what the source, so they use it for the political agenda. And the Republican are not better than the Democrat, and the Democrat are worse than the Republican, and the Republican are worse than the Democrat. It is not one or another, it's the state of men that is messed up. And if you fall into that, thinking you are gone and you contributing to the problem. Do you see the point? Yes? Those who make you blind by fear will make you bow and bring you to grief. If you are upset on your fellow man, you are blind, you are controlled. It's not natural for people to attack people. If you do, if Democrat fight Republicans, if white fight black, if a person in school can come and say that this child is not human because he have something wrong with his body, and I've heard that from actual children in actual school, you really need to know that something is really wrong. Doing what I do, doing what you do, walking towards truth is not popular. In fact, it is dangerous. It is dangerous since failing, once you undertook this road, is what got us to the deteriorated position we are in. And the last time we failed, it took us a few million years to recover. You can fail only by stopping, and you will stop only by agreeing you are not source. And this is why I do what I do. This is why I care about each and every one of you, since we are recovering the culture gone mad. This is our job, to recover culture gone mad. And when you get worried, and when you get upset, and when you start to fight, and when you start to say that one side is better than the other, and when you start to find fault because this guy is Jew, and this guy is black, and this guy is a Republican, and this guy is that, you just fail into the trap that the spy put for you. You cannot do that because you are different. You, the future of this planet relies on, will you undo it? Will you go out and put sanity or not? If you can look, you will discover that everything around you is set up to cause deterioration. Everything around you is set up to cause deterioration. Deterioration is the manifestation of the loss of control. And so it is clear that for as long as you will not gain back control, you are controlled, which means you are lied to and you will keep deteriorating. The next section will expose the lies that allow others to control you and will convince you to confront. As a result, you will be put back in control. And as a result, you will be released from the grips of the evil forces that manipulate you and this planet. And here we start. Did you notice people are illogical, lazy, blind, insane, or in short, did you notice people act more like ants than people? They actually act more like ants than people. Why? Why? People act like ants more than people. So they have someone in social media that says someone, and everyone go to that direction, and everyone take his job, and he has his job, and he's doing his job. This is the guy, this is the soldiers, and this is that. Let's see, let's solve this thing. Let's have a reason. Let's find the why that actually solve that problem. Let's find the why that actually solve the problem. Let's see. How will you define a fact? How will you define the word fact? An idea that becomes solid. What is a fact? When someone said this is a fact, a lie in the physical universe, an observation by two or more, a very strong conclusion, something that was previously an idea, now is agreed by many, agreed by the majority. Okay, let's have a look. One thing for sure, fact is not truth. You understand that fact is never truth. Two different words. Truth do not exist in the physical universe. Okay, so let's see what's the definition of the word fact. The word fact means it's the current majority's viewpoint on things. It is just the current majority's viewpoint on things. That's all. Fact is just the current. This is the current viewpoint on things. That's the worst. Most of the people think that. Most people think that right now that the world is round. It's just a viewpoint. It's just a current viewpoint. It has nothing to do with truth. It has nothing to do with anything. What is an opinion? What is an opinion? Judgment of fact, logic, current data, viewpoint. Okay, so an opinion is a person's or a group consideration about something that may or may not be a fact, that may or may not be the current majority viewpoint on things. It's an opinion. It doesn't have to agree with the majority. Yes? So we've got a fact and we've got an opinion, and they have nothing to do with truth. Nothing, zero to do with truth. Okay? So to go and to say that a fact or an opinion is really, really important will be basically insane. If you don't know those definitions, it will be only a matter of time before you will lose your ability to differentiate between a fact and an opinion. If you don't know that a fact is just the current majority viewpoint, not more, and you don't know that an opinion is just persons or groups' consideration about something, if you don't know that, your facts will become opinion, opinion will become facts, and you will be controlled. Now, what would be the result? What will be the result? What would be the result? That you will lose your ability to differentiate between facts and opinions. When all facts will be an opinion and all opinion will be facts, and there will be truth or not truth, what will be? You will make mistakes. You will favor insane solutions. And since you are good, you will demand to be forced into obedience. Now you really have to understand that, okay? If you cannot see that fact is just the current viewpoint of the majority, and an opinion is someone's consideration, a group or someone's consideration, what will happen? You will make mistakes because someone will tell you, good to be Democrat, okay? And you will think that this is a fact. Or you will see on the newspaper something, and you will think that the newspaper give you facts. No, the newspaper don't give you the majority viewpoint. The newspaper forward the viewpoint of only one owner. Do you understand? Let me give you an example. When I drive, I like to listen to religious stations. I either listen to Christian or Muslim radio stations in Cape Town, because it's not necessarily that I always agree, but I really, really like to listen to the discussions and the viewpoint. And it is really nice. I like it. It's much better than listening to some talk show of people throwing opinions and facts, okay? Now, this morning I was driving, and I heard in this talk show, in this station, the news, okay? So obviously this news is very, very, very specific, yes? And they said, look, Israeli settlers attack Palestinians, 4 Palestinians, and they got hurt and blah, 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 blah. Okay, now, this is one viewpoint, yes? It's not fact. It's not even an opinion. It is just an opinion of the owner of that radio station. Why? Because for something like that to be reported, it should be like that. Israeli attack, blah, 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 Palestinian attack, la, la, la. So far, the Palestinian attack 673 times, the Israeli attack 672 times. And actually what's really happening that when we talk to the majority of Israeli based on this survey, the majority of Israeli want peace and the majority of the Palestinian want peace. So this is really what happened, and there are 8 million Israelis and there are 3 million Palestinians, and 4 people are nothing. Now, it doesn't create insanity. But if you have one piece of data promoted as fact, which means they say that it's the majority of. Now, I'm not saying that Israel is right or Palestinian is right, because I can tell you for sure, both governments are agents, yes? The problem is that you listen to this and you think that this is the majority viewpoint, or that it's actually has any value. No, when your viewpoint is shaped by opinions, not by facts. It's shaped by one person that is the head of this news outlet, and that's it. Now, do you know that most of the mainstream media is owned by 2 or 3 guys? Do you understand that Facebook, Instagram, etc., all the majority mainstream social media is owned by a few guys? And you, if you want it or not, you listen to that, you are sure that it's a fact. They tell you in the newspaper, or you see it on CNN or Fox or whatever you watch, and you think that those people that talk there giving you facts. No, they give you opinion, their viewpoint, their consideration about the situation. Are you with me? Do you understand the point? Now, it's not a problem that they do that. It's a problem that you promote it by not being friend to your fellow man, by arguing I'm Democrat and you are Republican. I'm white, you are black. I'm Jew, you are, I don't know, Christian, Muslim. I am this, you are that, by looking for differences. That's how you promote it. Because without that, nothing will happen, because what you do is you take something, yes, you take one opinion, okay, of someone that tell you in the news or whatever, and you look at that and it is one opinion and you make it the same as everyone. This is one person opinion and you make it, you assume that one viewpoint is everyone else's viewpoint. So you assume differences are identities and you get the same manifestation of a misunderstood word, stupidity. Are you with me? Now, how will you define the word insanity? Stuck in the past. How do you define the word insanity? Accepting facts, okay? Viewpoint stuck in the past, making things that bring you worse situation. Okay, how will you define insanity? Let's have a look. Insanity is attention stuck in the past. That's most of you know. Insanity is attention stuck in the past, yes? Insanity is attention stuck on one viewpoint. Insanity is attention stuck on one viewpoint. If I'm stuck on one viewpoint, I cannot differentiate. I cannot see similarities. I cannot see anything because I have one viewpoint. One viewpoint means nothing to compare. If I have one viewpoint, I'm insane because I cannot have the definition of logic, which is the ability to see differences as differences, identities as identity, similarities and different as similarities. I act illogically, I'm acting insanely. I cannot bring good, I will bring only bad. Now, if you say I'm a Republican, you're stuck on one viewpoint. If you say I'm Democrat, you're stuck on one viewpoint. If you say I'm Christian, you're stuck on one viewpoint. But seriously, this is really the stacking on one viewpoint is what kills you. But every person that's stuck on one viewpoint do not realize that he's stuck on one viewpoint. This is really unbelievable, yes? Now, so how do you cause insanity? How do you cause insanity? You lock on one viewpoint. So you get CNN or you got mainstream media or you get, and they say one viewpoint. There is corona, there is corona, there is corona. On the other side, you've got all the people with the theories and there's no corona, there's no corona, there's no corona. Both of them stuck in one viewpoint. Both of them are insane. Both of them miss the point that they're stuck on one viewpoint. How do you know the guy is insane? He's fighting with someone else. Because people, to be sane, should assist each other. There is enough danger on this planet that you don't need people fighting with another people. So if you're 100% sure that the government is against you, insanity, because you're stuck on one viewpoint. I'm not sure that the government is against us or against me, but I see the viewpoints, I see the opinions, and I understand it's only the majority or it's only the consideration of a few, and I can accept it. So when someone tell me over social media, you're the stupidest person in the world, I tell him, I really appreciate your ability to observe and come to conclusions. Do you understand? Because that's more important than if I'm stupid or not. What does it mean to lock on one viewpoint? What does it mean when you are locked on one viewpoint? Limit all other possibility. You are blind to other viewpoints. You cannot create or see others. Not able to observe. To think only your viewpoints. Okay. What does it mean to lock on one viewpoint? One viewpoint means following a program to a T due to an inability to evaluate. When a person have one viewpoint, he cannot evaluate because there's no plus minus for him. There's no two. So he have to get a program. You understand? He has to be operating on a program, because if you cannot see where's the north, someone have to tell you where's the north. To the T, it's 100% without any deviation. So one viewpoint means following a program to a T, because there is, he cannot evaluate. You cannot evaluate when you have one viewpoint. Can you say to me, can you tell me, let me show you something. What do I mean? Can you tell me, is this medium or rare? Is it long or short? Is it long or short? Exactly. Compared to what? Compared to what? You need to compare. But if I have one viewpoint and I say it's long, there's no other viewpoint, only long. There's no short. There's only long. Do you understand? It's insane in this universe. That's mean one viewpoint. That mean one viewpoint. Are you with me? One viewpoint means being a robot. One viewpoint means being a robot. One viewpoint means an inability to exercise judgment. Do you understand that if you have one viewpoint, you cannot exercise judgment? If you cannot exercise judgment, what you need is more laws. When you see people putting more and more and more laws, it means they already brainwashed you into one viewpoint. So they need to give you laws, and you happily accept them because you know that you have no judgment, because you know that you have one viewpoint. Are you with me? One viewpoint means an inability to differentiate. Since there is nothing to differentiate, you have one viewpoint. Everything equals to everything else. Do you understand that one viewpoint means A equal A equal A equal A, everything equal to everything else, because there is no other thing. One viewpoint means that you cannot compare similarities, identities, no differences, because they aren't for you. There is one viewpoint. If you have only one viewpoint, there is only this line. Can you see identities, similarities, differences? Nothing. One viewpoint. You cannot. This is impossible. Yes? One viewpoint means no communication. As to communicate, you need two viewpoints. You cannot even communicate. Do you understand? So people don't communicate when they have one viewpoint, because for them, there is no other person on the other side. They have one viewpoint. Did you notice that when you argue with someone that is sure that is right, you can show them black on white that it is black, and they will tell you, no, I think it's yellow. One viewpoint means no communication. As to communicate, you need two viewpoints. Let's say you argue with a person that's afraid that you will convince him, okay? You will see that a person that's afraid that you will convince him is a person that lock on a viewpoint, yes? So whatever you tell him, he will not be able to evaluate. He will tell you, well, look, I need to talk to my lawyer, or I need to find out, I need to research, or I need to think about it, because one viewpoints mean no communication. You cannot communicate with one viewpoint. It is fascinating. And no one knows that, because there was such a deterioration that today no one knows that they have one viewpoint. And everyone blame everyone else, and they will tell you, no, look, I'm Democrat, and the Republican, look what they've done, and totally one viewpoint. One viewpoint means no communication. You understand that you are as alive as you communicate, and you understand that if there is one viewpoint, of course, there will be no life. If someone tell you, I am the source, basically they say one viewpoint. You understand? Even if this source is the best source in the universe, he kills you. Look, when people misunderstood the Bible, and turn it into you have to follow the words of God and not God gave you these words in order for you to decide whatever you want. So you have multiple viewpoints, so you can actually have judgment. When people misunderstood the Bible, what they say is God has a viewpoint. You need to follow God. And at that moment, you're out of communication. So religion that was supposed to free you actually jailed you. Do you understand? It's like, wow. It happened with religion, not by mistake. It happened with education, not by mistake. It happened not by mistake. One viewpoint means no one can communicate with anyone else, as no one really knows what the other person intends to say. So what do I mean? It's when a person have a one viewpoint and he says, look, there is a word, and this word, I give the definition. I have a definition for the word, and my definition is different than yours because I have a one viewpoint on it, and you can have a different one, and everyone tell you that words cannot be defined. What you have is no communication, because I don't know what you intend, because words do not mean the same thing to me as they mean to you. If words do not mean the same to me as they mean to you, I have one viewpoint on the words and I cut you out of communication. So you can have one viewpoint by having one viewpoint by being locked or by being unable to communicate. It works both ways. One viewpoint means no one can communicate with anyone else, as no one really knows what the other person intends to say. One viewpoint means no education, but brainwashing, as you cannot educate what you cannot communicate. But you sure can brainwash, as brainwashing does not require evaluation. You understand? If the words do not mean something specific, I cannot educate, but I can definitely brainwash you. I can tell you, this is how it works, this is how it works, and I'm the authority, and I know, and you don't know, and this is how it works, and if you don't go to school, you will not be successful. One viewpoint means no education, but brainwashing. If you have one viewpoint, you cannot educate. The teacher can have as much goodwill as she wants. There will be no education. There will be only brainwashing going on. You need to remember why they tell you in school you need to remember, because there could not be education. There could not be an understanding. There could be only brainwashing. And they tell you, remember. You remember for the exam, which means you've been brainwashed and now you need to repeat it. You cannot educate what you cannot communicate. Sure can brainwash. You understand? I cannot bring duplication of what does it mean, but I can brainwash you to remember it. Most people don't understand what they say. Why? Because they have not been educated. They've been brainwashed. Most people say, well, the financial package is that. They don't even understand financial. Do you understand? They don't understand the word financial, but they argue about financials. I'll give you an example. How uneducated people are, okay? How do you measure what is the asset of a company? How do you know what's the asset of the company? How do you measure the assets of a company? Okay, the assets of the company, you take all its properties, you take its goodwill, and in goodwill, we're talking about name, blah, blah, blah. Property, we're talking about patents, buildings, stock, etc. You take the cash and you take how much money they own, and that's how this is how accountant say what the asset of a company means. This is today the definition of an asset of a company. If you go to stock exchange and you look at the asset, what they mean is property plus goodwill plus cash plus debt, which mean that if I have $10 in cash and I owe to someone $10,000, my asset is $10,010. It's insane. This is how they calculate it. Do you understand? Because they say if you have a debt, it means that you're going to pay for it, which means that you have the money to pay for it. It is totally insane. They tell you that you need to ask how many of you go to your accountant to find out what happened. Once per year you go to the accountant, or once every 3 months or whatever, and the accountant tell you what's the situation in your business. Is that true or not? Financially, you get what's the situation from your accountant, yes? Most businessmen do that, yes? But you go, most businessmen go to the accountant and ask them what's the situation. Now, this is insane. Why? Because this is how the accountant look at things. This is how the accountant look at things. You understand? Accountant don't know what's going on in your business. Accountant give you what's going on in your business 3, 4, 6 months, a year after the fact. Accountant invent things. They don't know, like when you spend something on money on something, they don't know what is it. They don't know what to do with that. They don't know. And if you listen to them, you'll get the wrong picture. And if you get the wrong picture, you'll do the wrong actions. So you'll take something that works and you'll break it. Why? One viewpoint. Are you with me? One viewpoint bring about no education, but brainwashing. One viewpoint means brainwash leaders that are led instead of leading. Now, what's the big thing here? What's the big thing here? You think you don't realize that those people that are leaders today used to be children that went through this education system that brainwashed them, and they cannot think as well. You don't believe that they cannot think because you think, well, they're on TV, they're important, they have nice ties, and look at their suits, and they're driving very amazing cars, and they have Secret Service around them. But if you watched the debate between Trump and Biden, you saw two people that are uneducated, brainwashed. Both of them did not understand the words that they said. And you argue and you say, but I'm Republican. Nonsense. Irrelevant. The only relevant thing is, can you bring about more agreements, more duplication with your fellow men? One viewpoint means the certainty of uncertainty that leads to the false logic. The right thing to do is to not confront. So when you have one viewpoint, you have only one certainty, and the one certainty is that everything is uncertain because you have nothing to compare to. There is no data of comparable magnitude. You are always in confusion. This is the certainty of uncertainty. And the end result is the false logic of, okay, the right thing to do is not to confront. So you have everyone with open cycles, you have everyone lying, you have everyone cheating, you have everyone delaying, you have people that lose money, lose their family, lose everything, but still will not move their ass and sign an agreement. Will not call someone, will not do the action, will not do and drive 5 kilometers to look what's happening in their whatever. They don't do what they're supposed to do because they cannot confront, because they know that nothing is certain. And they tell you, most people will tell you, the only certainty there is the uncertainty. They tell you that I cannot predict anything. You don't know. Who knows? Now, if someone cause you to be uncertain, if the government put all day long different rules overnight, from today you are not allowed to fly, from tomorrow you are not this, you are now in a lockdown, you are now all day long different uncertainties, what will be the end result? Non-confront. You are certain that there is no certainty. It is all in the direction of giving you one viewpoint. Everything is in direction of giving you one viewpoint. And you think that the viewpoint is yours, but there's something amazing. One viewpoint is never yours because you cannot have one viewpoint. How do you know that your viewpoint is not yours? It is one. You take a group of people, you take Jewish people, and they tell you only Jewish people are blah, blah, blah. We are the only chosen people. We are the only one that knows. We are the only one that have the data because God gave it to us directly. He came down and he gave it to us. He didn't send it over the email like for the Christian. The Christian, they send it the data over the email. We are special. We are Jewish. Nonsense. Nonsense. When you are locked on one viewpoint, you need to know you've been cheated. It's not yours. If you are I don't know, a Jehovah Witness, they are sure that everyone is so stupid and they just don't know and they just need the Jehovah Witness data. The problem is not the data. The problem is that they have one viewpoint. It's not their viewpoint, just a bunch of robots. And it applies to everyone. It's not just the Jewish or the Christians or the Jehovah Witnesses or the Buddhists or whatever, everyone. You will see that when someone blocks you from having viewpoints, says, don't go to the internet to check, it's damaging to you. It's damaging to you. Like if I'll go to the internet to check, it's damaging to me. Whoa, 1 second. What do you mean? What do you mean? I'm so useless that I cannot have multiple viewpoint? Since when multiple viewpoint damaging to a person? One viewpoint means the certainty of uncertainty that leads to the false logic. The right thing to do is to not confront. One viewpoint means habitually reaching illogical conclusions. If you have one viewpoint, you cannot reach a logical conclusion because logical means the ability to see differences as differences, identities and identity, and similarities and similarity. And how can you do that with one viewpoint? How can you do it with one viewpoint? One viewpoint means turning humans into an ant colony, willing obedience to hidden sources. This is what it is. It is an actual ant colony. It is a hidden source. You don't even see the shepherd. It is a hidden source that everyone do what they're supposed to do. Now, don't think that in an ant colony, there is no levels. There is level, there is soldiers, and there is cleaners, and there is servants, and there is everything. And they never change their position. Like a cleaner will never become a soldier, or a soldier will never become a queen. Why? Because they have one viewpoint, also about themselves. They have one viewpoint about themselves. You have one viewpoint about yourself. It takes enormous amount of work to change your viewpoint about you. One viewpoint meaning turning humans. Instead of having a society, you have a colony. You turn human into an ant colony. One viewpoint means the land of the gone. Now, it is hard for you to confront. This data is hard for you to confront as you are still logical. And so you assume everyone else is at least as logical as you. But I want to tell you, they're not. And if for you it's hard to confront, for them it's much harder because they cannot confront with one viewpoint. And the only thing that they can do, since they cannot communicate, since they cannot have a reality, the only thing that they can do is affinity. And that's why the only thing you can do is love them despite all invitations to do otherwise. Because communication will not work, reality will not work, understanding will not work. The only thing that will work is love, affinity. And you do that by being willing to accept the viewpoint. So they will not be so insistent on having a viewpoint. And so they will see a viewpoint from you because you love them. And by your love, you can save the whole planet. You can save the human race by loving few people. So this is my message for you today. It's a responsibility for you to actually go and make sure that you help people. And you help them not by pushing a viewpoint, but by allowing them to have the viewpoint and loving them, actually being willing to be with them, not based. So love is the ability to share space or the urge to be together for no reason at all. So not because they agree with you or not because you've got affinity, reality, and communication with them. No, you love them for no reason at all, knowing full well that they're not bad. They're just stuck on one viewpoint due to the deterioration of this universe, due to the spies, etc., etc. And the only way to help them is to love them, because if you love them enough, the fascinating thing that happens, they will have one more viewpoint. And at that moment, you save that being. You actually save them. He will not fall back anymore, because you prove to him that love is possible. Share what we're doing here. Don't fight other people's viewpoint. Love them and understand them, because you, one thing for sure, you need more viewpoints. Viewpoint do not mean what I agree to. Yes, you need more viewpoints. Courts cannot do anything, because who sits in the court? Who is the judge? Someone that's been miseducated. A judge is an insane person. Insane by our definition means that he's been brainwashed to a certain way. He works based on laws. Laws are just limitations. He does not promote judgment. Most of the time, judges bring about injustice because they don't even understand what justice means. They think it's punishment. And each one of you, you have the power with what you know, and you will, and I trust that you will change this planet. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you. So I love you, I love you, I love you, and I will see you. Bye-bye.